1945, Rear Admiral Grace Murray Hopper finds a moth among the relays of a Navy computer and calls it a bug. She later creates the term debugging. 1979, the first computer worm is created at Xerox Palo Alto Research Center. The program is meant to make computers more efficient, but later hackers modify worms into computer viruses that destroy or alter data. 1986, the first PC virus, the Brain, is created. However, it is not destructive and creates included contact information with it. 1988, a worm is uploaded to ARPANET, disabling about 6,000 computers and replicating itself and filling their memory banks. Robert Morris, who created and unleashed the virus out of boredom, received 3 years probation and a $10,000 penalty. 1990, the first self-modifying viruses are created. Self-modifying viruses are designed to avoid detection by antivirus by changing itself eternally. 1995, concept. The first Microsoft Word-based virus spreads worldwide using macro commands. The virus is spread by opening an infected Word document. 1998, solar sunrise occurs when hackers take control of over 500 government, military, and private computer systems. Authorities eventually learned that 2 California teenagers coordinated the attacks. 2001, the code Red Worm causes $2 billion in damage by infecting Microsoft Windows NT and Windows 2000 server software. The virus attempts to use all infected computers to attack the White House website simultaneously, but the worm's code is deciphered in time and the attack is blocked. 2008, the Coup-Face virus spreads through email and social networking sites like Facebook. Once infected, a computer sends its users ads for phony software, and as dumb as people can be, people do buy it, but no products are ever delivered. 2009, the Configure worm, best known for stealing financial data and passwords, infect millions of computers. The complexity infection rate led to the assembly of an alliance of experts just to stop the complex virus. 2010, Stuxnet, a virus created for industrial and economic attacks, is discovered. The worm targets systems used to run nuclear power plants on water facilities. It is so large and complex, estimates suggest it was developed by the US or Israeli government and took more than 10 years to develop. 2012. The Heartbleed bug takes advantage of a flaw in the OpenSSL security software library in order to access passwords, encrypted communications, and other sensitive data. Millions of secure servers are exposed to the virus, which in turn infects billions of computers. 2013. Between November 27th and December 15th, the personal data of 70 million Facebook users is stolen when hackers gain access to target servers. 2014. 12 Russian hackers steal more than 1.2 billion matching passwords and usernames and over 500 million email addresses. The heist is accomplished using viruses to test and exploit vulnerabilities in websites and SQL code.
Okay guys, today we're gonna cover the content Racker. So, what is a Racker? Racker is basically someone who tries to explore and, find weakness in your computer system and network. Basically, there are 3 types of hackers. Let's see them, right? The first one would be the white hacker, or the good one. He basically tried to explore the network in order to see if it's safe and to find some weakness in order to basically protect the system and the network. The second one would be the black hat hacker. The black hat hacker is basically responsible to do illegal things or to get access to your system network with malicious purpose. They basically do things like that for 3 main reasons: for fun, for a challenge, or even to get a revenge for something. Well, now that we covered this, let's see some other aspects of this content. The gray black hacker, or the gray hat hacker, which means he is a combination of white hat hacker and black hat hacker. Let's see some details about some of those guys. Okay guys, now that you know what is a hacker, we have to know what is a hacking. So, hacking is basically trying to get access to a computer in an unauthorized way. So this person is basically trying to steal information from your computer, your network, or your system. So we have to mention 2 very famous guys. One would be Frank Abagnale and the other would be Mafia Boy. But let's talk about them. Well, we have been talking about hackers, right? Probably you have heard about Frank Abagnale, which is the main character of that movie Catch Me If You Can, starring Leonardo DiCaprio as the main character. So basically, he's like a social engineer hacker because he tricks people in order to get information so he can make some moves. For example, he pretends to be a lawyer, a doctor, and even a pilot. I mean, besides these guys, we have to remember the Mafia Boy, which is also called Big Mike Cossi, because he made a lot of denial of service attack for Yahoo, Dell, and even CNN. So that being said, we can't forget about the Anonymous, which is a group who claim to be made a lot of attacks such as government attacks, among others. So we have to win this fight. And to win this fight, you have to remember this word, won. W for web attacks, O for OS application attacks, and N for network attacks. So let's focus on network, right? Let me show you some attacks of network. When it comes about network attack, we have packet sniffing, man in the middle, and DNS hijack. The very first one, you have to understand that if you remind the OSI models, the internet is divided in packets. So this packet can be sniffed, and the guy who is attacking can get information, can hijack password, and even get cookies. A good example of packet sniffing would be if you can imagine like a dog, and those packets is coming next to the dog finds something that he likes, he will grab it, right? The second one would be man in the middle. Yeah, I know, right? When you think that your vision is clear, is there someone in between? That's basically what happened with the man in the middle. In other words, he inserts a router between the client and the server in order to change the data when it passes through. Another good example would be the DNS hijack, when the attacker inserts a route into the DNS table in order to change or to get this information from a real website or a genuine website to a malicious website. A good example of this would be like a bank. Imagine that you have the website bank and you have a layer. So in that case, when you type on this website, you actually type on the layer and it's sending the message to the attacker. Virus, eh? That's a good subject. We have more than 30,000 viruses around the world. And basically it's a piece of code which reproduces itself in order to do some damage in your computer. For example, if you download AXA files, if you access some emails, or even some Microsoft Word like macros. So that being said, what this kind of threat can do in your computer? Basically you can get like the blue screen, the computer can beep sometimes, and also slow down the system. So you can see sometimes like scrambled data in your hard drive or even erased data, and sometimes some share of files are just gone, they just disappear. So those are viruses, right? But let's now talk about worms. Worms can reproduce itself, and unlike the other one, like the one that I mentioned before, it doesn't need the intervention of the user. He looks for compromised system or networks or even chat, you know, those places that you like to talk. Think again about that, because they can like steal information, they can open backdoors and drop some other problems to your system, and that could be very dangerous. Not only because of, you know, the security stuff, but because it can actually drop some other problems to your system. So it became slow as well, and can steal information. So that would be a huge problem if you have a war. Another good one would be like the Trojan. Trojans are more like, if you see that movie Troy, you see what I'm talking about. It seems to be like a good an application at all, but it can actually damage your computer. So unlike the virus and the worm, they can't infect other files, nor replicate itself. However, like the worm, it can create a backdoor for other programs, and that could lead to a lot of problems. So some kind of problems that you can have with Trojan. You have the DOS problems or attack. You also have like people watching your screen. They can damage your file. They can steal information like postcode. As you can see, we can face a lot of problems if we have some vulnerabilities in our system, network, or even in our private lives. A good example of this would be the social engineer that I just mentioned. Some people can give you like an USB on a parking lot telling you that it would be like a new program that's gonna solve a lot of things in your computer to get access to your data. Or even password cracking, which is basically a way to discover your password. They can use like a rainbow table in order to discover passwords, like they actually can do that in 4 and 10 minutes, 14 alphanumeric password. What we can do in order to avoid those problems? Most of the time these things happen because we have some vulnerabilities, some breaches to these hackers, and that's what they want. They want a space and hole in order to get access to your data. Downloading the new software of your favorite antivirus, keep it updated, and at the same time you can use some adware and malware program. Also, you can do backup in a regular basis, and try not to download files with suffix AXA or macros from Microsoft, or even try to leave your computer unattended or something like that. All the things can happen.